So the year was 2020. The world was on lockdown. Yet somehow the 48-hour film project went on.
But this time, there were no crowded sets, no late-night shoots with a dozen people crammed into a living room. Just webcams, Zoom calls, and that ticking clock.
And this was the first time we ever tried the 48-hour film project nearly remote.
Actors scattered across the country, performances captured online, and us trying to stitch it together in just 2 days.
It was filmmaking in lockdown and a whole new twist on our creative process.
This is the story of our first remote 48-hour film, Project Omega-13 Restore.
Welcome back, everyone. We are Cup of Meat Productions, and this is 25 years, 48 hours at a time. So this is our first film episode, and this is one that really is, to me, a quintessential Cup of Meat film.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's got all the telltale signs that make up what Cup of Meat is, even if we didn't know it at the time.
So whenever I talk to people about the fact that I make films as a hobby and I send them the YouTube channel, the first thing they all say is, what the hell is Cup of Meat Productions?
Yes, me too.
So I think that in this episode, let's talk a little bit about the origins of Cup of Meat. So this goes back to 1994. I had just gotten married. We went to our honeymoon in Virginia Beach, and on the way back, we stopped to see you in Virginia. And you brought us to the
Tyson's Corner.
Literally the best restaurant in the area.
Finest.
The Olive Garden.
Finest cuisine. Olive Garden, absolutely.
What I think fascinated me, because I think it was the first time I'd ever been to an Olive Garden, was it was so formulaic. There's no way it was an Italian restaurant. It was an Italian formula for a restaurant. And that got us going. So when we get going and start riffing, we start coming up with ideas. And what I think we did is we boiled down what would be the most formulaic restaurant we could come up with.
Yeah, down to the bare bones. What is the barest bone of a restaurant? What is it's simple foods, classically provided in a manner that just is exactly what it says. In other words,
but with a hook.
With a hook.
Thus, the Cup of Meat.
Exactly. Right.
So the idea of Cup of Meat started as a restaurant idea. You'd go into a highly sanitized stainless steel restaurant. You would be given a menu with various meats in various cups. You'd order said meat. It would be delivered to you. And then came the real hook, was that overhead were a series of pipes with various sauces. Right. And like a milkmaid milking the cow in the morning, you'd pull down the tube of which sauce you wanted and you'd squirt it into your cup. Yeah. Of meat.
I liken it to like a service center for cars where they bring down the thing and it has the little squirter for oil and the thing for that. And that's what I envisioned at the time. All stainless, all bare bones, all totally clean with no frills.
And so from that offhand random conversation was born Cup of Meat. And so many years later, when it came time for us to make a film, what better name for the production company than Cup O' Meat Production.
There is no better name. Not even possible. I mean, I think scientists have been trying to study it for decades now to see what possibly could be a better name. And
now, by the way, when I've told that story to people asking what Cup of Meat is about, I think they're more confused than when they ask the question. Omega-13 Restore holds a distinction among our films. It is the first of what would become several films that we filmed fully remote. It was 2020. The country was on lockdown.
And I will add one aspect. You and I had talked about the concepts of asking people to remotely record parts of a script and then send it to us, and we'd stitch it together as a sort of a concept piece. We had talked about that for many years, not having any concept that we would actually need to do it. And that was always something we had. In fact, we had talked about having that be a sequential event methodology in which you do this part of a script your way, not knowing what other people do, and then you do your script this way. We had thrown that around. So there was those concepts, high concept.
And so the ultimate high concept is Omega-13 Restore.
Let's see.
Holding that federal forum chart provisions are ineffective and invalid. The case of Scambucci v. Salzburg allows Delaware corporations to adopt bylaws governing actions related to the internal affairs of the corporation. Counsel, your position is that the High Court rejected the Court of Chancery's conclusion. Am I correct?
So what I think was really cool, and the opportunity that this film gave us, is it really let us pull together these little communities of actors that we built up across the country. So in New York and DC, here in LA. Mm-hmm. And by doing it remote, we were able to pull together people that had never worked on the same films.
That's right.
All into one production.
This is amazing. It's just such a whenever time I see the people that work and support Cup of Meat, and that we've had the pleasure, the honor, the luck to be able to work with for these years, it just makes me smile. What a great bunch of people.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, your co-counsel appears to be mute. What say you?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Could you please repeat the question?
2 for 2, Mr. Thomas.
Correct, Your Honor. A corporation cannot bind a plaintiff to a particular form that were established by or under Delaware's corporate law.
Well said, Mr. Thomas. I'm glad that at least one of you is on the ball here. So, federal forum provisions are also permissible under both parts of Section 102B-1. As to the management of the business center, counsel, your position is that the High Court rejected the Court of Chancery's conclusion. Am I correct? Okay, Mr. Johnson, your co-counsel appears to be mute. What say you?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Didn't you just ask that question?
Nope. 2 for 2. Mr. Thomas?
Correct, Your Honor. A corporation cannot...
Counsel, your position is that the High Court rejected the Court of Chancery's conclusion. Am I correct?
Guys, I got this one. All right. Correct, Your Honor. A corporation cannot bind a plaintiff to a particular forum that was established by or under Delaware corporate law.
Well said, Mr. Johnson. I'm glad that at least one of you is on the ball here. So, federal forum provisions are also permissible.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I know we all have so many tasks we need to get to, but it's really important that we're able to express ourselves. I know there are feelings out there about what's been going on, and you know, I think, and I want to give us all that chance to be able to express ourselves.
Okay, so, you know, it's funny how things like the person on screen being muted has become an effective trope. But if you think about it, all that was brand new in 2020 when we started to deal with the aftermath of working remotely and the COVID experience as such. right? So
it was interesting when I first rewatched this film and got to this scene. I thought this was a therapy session. And then I'm like, why are these workers talking about shredders and their desks? And then I remember it's like, no, this was the HR representative getting people together to talk about their feelings, to see how they were doing, to check in. Because at the time, people were freaking out and productivity was going through the floor and nobody knew how to manage remotely. And you got a lot of these people leaning into these essentially group therapy sessions at work. That said, it was still full of the same loonies that you dealt with in the office.
Well, I'd like to talk about the etiquette for our shredder, or the shreddiquette, as I like to call it.
It's not that hard to make a window. All you have to do is put a hole in the wall that's closer to where my desk is.
2 pages at a time. If you do more than 2 pages, it is going to block the shredder.
Mr. Franklin, you submitted quite an interesting question. Bill, what's going on?
You don't even have to eat if you get enough sunlight. You don't even have to drink, even water, because the sunlight actually has liquid in it that goes right into your skin. Most people don't know that.
Editing this film was a particular challenge, and it's a challenge that I've had with a lot of our films that have starred our friend Lori Oken.
Oh,
Lori, especially for this film, just riffed on things. And I remember editing this film, and it hurt every time I cut a piece of Lori's dialogue. Honestly, the last bit of dialogue shouldn't be there. From an editing perspective, it should end on the mute gag again. That's the right place for it to end, but I just couldn't cut it all.
There's a couple of actresses and actors in our world in which it is so painful to remove anything they do, because it's just gold. Just gold.
God, I can't wait to meet your parents. I've heard they're just the most wonderful people on the planet. Did I tell you about my parents? Did I tell you that on the day that my father proposed to my mother, she made him pancakes?
This interchange between Heather and Todd is not original to this film. So technically this gets us disqualified. One of the tropes of the Cup of Meat cinematic universe is our continued repetition of lines and themes that we've introduced in other films.
I think it's homage. It's homage to the past, to the wonderful things that make up Cup of Meat. It's not repetition. It's just utilization of the great items. It's standing on the shoulders of giant films.
Oh, no. No. This is literally the same lines. When I put this script together, I went back and watched one of our early films, Batter, where Heather also told the story of her mother making pancakes for her father, which in that film made sense. In the 2 subsequent times that we've used it, it's purely self-indulgence.
Purely self-indulgent. And I think that's right there as a hallmark entity of Cup of Meat Productions. Self-indulgence. As much as you and I fight about it, it's real.
Have you thought about where you might like to honeymoon? I was thinking Hawaii. I keep telling you we should invest in sunscreen. And 4 kids or 6 kids. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm pregnant.
So that was not a piece of special effects. That was actually water hitting a laptop keyboard.
Yep. That's one of those things. One of the aspects of my pack rat mentality in the Cup of Meat props closet, is we have so much in here. So Friday night, when Ron and I are trying to figure out how the heck this movie's going to work and what the plots are, we're getting to the point where we have to do something bad to the PC to invoke the Omega-13 response in a manner that is without, he can't be controlled. And I'm like, I can't use one of my PCs. I can't use, anything that we have because, we're using them every day for work, etc. And I was like, oh. And I went digging in my back closet, and I found this old PC that would boot but barely work. And I was like, yes, there's a reason why I keep this crap.
So you're blaming Cup of Meat for your hoarding. The question is did you throw it out after the film?
I'm justifying it.
Did you throw it out after the film?
No, but I could go. It's 46 steps from right where I'm standing. I could grab it right now if you want it, because it's ready for the next film.
What a piece of work this man. How noble, how infinite, in fact.
What the heck is this monologue?
Okay.
When I rewatched this film this week, I started remembering, oh yeah, I remember this film. And then it got to this scene, and I'm like, where did this monologue come from?
Oh, this is straight out of the me. This is a me problem. So obviously the words are from Hamlet, but
obviously
they're from Hamlet.
Obviously,
Shakespeare and Hamlet. But the concept was that he's gone so far back. He's gone to the beginning of time, right? And he's questioning what is man, right? It's as when Hamlet speaks these words. It's also used again in Hair, a song in which this is the thing. And Todd and I started our friendship and working together in the musical Hair back in 1996. So to me, this made a lot of sense on 3 levels. And in the end, it at least makes you think, oh, it's spatial, it's contemplative. So I like it. It works for me.
So it works on 3 levels.
3
different levels.
3 unique levels.
Different and unique.
That's an old one.
So I think what I find always amazing is obscurity is certainly a cornerstone of every film we make.
Yes.
I find it amazing that even I will rewatch a film and go, what the fuck were we thinking?
Yes. One of these things, you and I will have to talk about how we work together and how we come up with these things. Because
trust the process.
Exactly. See, that's the Ronism. And yet what that really means is don't question what I just said. So it's a good thing. And I love it. So we will talk about that at another episode.
And yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust, of time?
Cambucci v. Salzburg allows Delaware corporations to adopt bylaws governing actions. Counsel, your position is that the High Court rejected the Court of Chancery's conclusion. Am I correct?
I have so much to say. I have so much to share. I need the world to care.
And then, of course, you end your quirky science fiction comedy with a musical number.
Of course. I don't know, is there any other way?
What really astounds me is we were already taking on the challenge of filming a remote film. What were we thinking of that we were going to put an original recording into this film? It was not an easy logistical film.
Nope. It wasn't.
It was really challenging.
It wasn't even close to our most challenging weekend. We'll get there later. But boy, this one was a lot of work.
Hi, can you hear me? I think I have finally figured this out. I was on mute, but now I am not. And I think you can hear me. The words I'm saying are hitting you. I'm so damn profound, something you never knew. And I have so much to say. I have so much to share. Now the whole world will care. The world can now hear me. Everyone hear me. The world can now hear me. Everyone hear me.
Mr. Franklin, you are still on mute.
I think one of the more special pieces of this is this film was really in memory of our dear friend and longtime collaborator Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, Jerry and I lived in New Jersey. We all lived in New Jersey at the same time. Jerry was a fantastic guy. He was a deep wealth of any and everything. He was a great friend, and unfortunately he had just recently passed from cancer before we made this film. And he had been in a bunch of our previous films, and you'll see him, definitely see him. And it's sad. It's still sad.
But as you can see from the photo that we chose to use for his in memoriam, he was a very reserved person who was really wanted to be, respectful for all his actions.
Oh, yeah, he had a great sense of humor.
$12,000. It's a film that I never know how to say because there's no comma in it.
It's 12,000.
I know, but there's no comma in it. Therefore, it always causes me pause.
Good for you. 12,000. It's easy for me.
Made in 2014 in Washington, D.C., 12,000 was another fun film, again, to film in person.
Yep.
With many of our friends, which we will watch on the next episode.
Absolutely.
So how do we end these things?
Oh, I think it's important that we find a way to wrap it up. Great.
We're too old to fall into the like, subscribe, thumbs up, ring the bell.
Right. We could
nod the buttocks. It doesn't make sense for us to do that.
No, I think we need to definitely come up with a defined item that we don't stop, and we make sure everybody understands so they know what to expect without that.
So why don't you do the ending, Eric?
All right, here we go. All right, everybody, thanks for...